don't.
You guys are all friends, right?
Yeah, sure.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Brian, go ahead.
No,
You want me to go?
well, you're
All right.
the on-air talent.
No. Okay. All right. So, what have the last 24 hours been like for you and the board?
It's been very taxing. At the end of the day, I think we ended up in a good place, but it certainly was a very emotional couple of days. I certainly haven't gotten a lot of sleep. It was a good wake-up call for us at the end of the day that sort of made us reevaluate. I think we still did the right thing. I think by walking out of that meeting Wednesday night and not taking action, we did our duty as a Board of Education because we had some questions. We needed more information, and so by holding the additional meeting last night, I feel like we got the information that we needed to make the best decision that we could make, the most informed decision that we could make. And as you saw tonight, the recommendation, the situation changed from Wednesday to Friday. But that was a result of the process and a result of the feedback and the input that we got from the community. So we feel good about where we're at right now.
You got a lot of input from the community. What did you hear from people around Silver Lake?
Tremendous support for Travis Hamilton in particular. Personally, I got a lot of support for the board, that they appreciated what we do and the process that we go through, and challenging on occasion when we don't feel like we have enough information. So we got a lot of support personally as a Board of Education, but by and large it was overwhelming support for Travis as an individual, for the dedication and the effort and the things that he's done for the kids of our community, and the impact that he's had on them. And so, that was information that we needed to hear, and we certainly wanted to do what we felt was best for the district, best for this football program, but we wanted to listen to the patrons as well. We wanted to do what our constituents wanted us to do.
What's CJ Hamilton's status right now?
CJ Hamilton is the head football coach for Silver Lake High School. It's my understanding that he withdrew his resignation this morning. I've had a conversation with him, and as far as Monday goes, he's going to be the head man out on that football field.
You said the board had concerns. How easy is it to alleviate those concerns in a 2-day period with the emotional charge that obviously the situation had become? And did you feel like those concerns were addressed with the forum last night and then with the executive session you had today?
Sure. It was a very short time frame. We intentionally made it, and we knew we had to get this done in a very short time frame, given the start of practice on Monday. I feel confident that we did the due diligence that we felt like we needed to do to get our questions answered, to get comfortable that we could make a recommendation that we felt good about.
Some BOEs across the state have a nepotism rule that they have to adhere to. Is that something that you guys had to bring into play with this decision, where the nepotism rule with a father can't be superior over and make evaluations of direct family members?
Yeah, that never came into play. That was never in this situation.
Okay. Moving forward, do you feel confident you guys have done the right thing now?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, where we were on Wednesday is a much different place than we are today, and that again was part of the process that we went through. Wednesday night we were just hiring one assistant high school football coach. Tonight we hired 3, one at the junior high and 2 at the high school. So this was something, quite honestly, that we should have probably done a year ago, 2 years ago, knowing that we had an aging football staff and knowing that they weren't going to be here long term. This is quite honestly is probably a conversation that we should have had with all of them years ago, but it was a wake-up call for us, quite honestly, and so again, over the course of this process, that conversation was increasingly had. And what are we going to do? How are we going to do that? How are we going to ensure the long-term success of this program, the success that this coaching staff has built under CJ's tutelage, and we're committed to helping ensure that happens. And so the efforts tonight are really intended to bring in some young coaches that can be mentored, that can be taught the system that has been so successful at Silver Lake for so long, and really mold them and groom them and put them in a position to take over when those guys leave.
And you had sons that played here, right?
I had, yes,
Blake?
Ryan 2 years ago, and I had Blake last year that both played under CJ. I have a freshman this year that will have the opportunity now to play under CJ.
Yeah, and that's got to be a hard thing to balance your vested interest in it as a parent and then also be on the school board aspect of it, where you have to kind of take your own personal thoughts and kind of look at it in a different fashion.
Yeah, I think it's hard for anybody on the school board, particularly if you are a parent. But from my personal perspective, I don't find that to be too difficult. I understand I have a job to do, and I take it very seriously. But sure, your personal feelings and interests do play into that. But as best I can, I try to eliminate that conflict of interest, that potential conflict of interest. And I think across the board, all of our board members, are looking at things from an objective perspective, trying to eliminate that emotion, not having any hidden agendas across the board. I think we've this community, I think, has really elected a quality board that is able to do that in an effective manner.
And what's your freshman son's name?
Logan.
Logan, okay. And Ryan and Blake were the other two.
Right.
So I think they're going to have a good year, though.
Yeah, I hope so.
Are you just relieved this whole thing has resolved itself in the manner that it seems like everybody wanted it to resolve itself?
Absolutely. And quite honestly, I feel like we're in a much better position or better place today than where we would have ended up Wednesday had we taken action on Wednesday. I feel like we've addressed this potential issue of losing an entire football staff in a period of 2 or 3 years and not really having a game plan as to how we're going to backfill that. And so honestly, like I said, this process has been beneficial. It's hard to look at it that way, but from my perspective, it has really put us in a much better place, and I feel much more positive about where we are today than we were Wednesday.